Hi, Timothy Unkert here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to factor quadratics where the number in front of x squared, which we call a, is greater than 1. So let's start with this first example. We're going to factor 15x squared minus x minus 2. First method I'm going to show you is the way I do it, the way I think, and then I'm going to show you a method called the magic x. Okay, so let's first the way I do it, I list the positive factors in front of or of a, the number in front of x squared. So I could multiply 1 times 15 or 3 times 5 to get 15. Now I want to list the factors of negative 2, so I can multiply 1 times negative 2 or negative 1 times positive 2. Now, I want to have a combination such that when I add up a combination of products, I get the negative 1 here, because even though they don't write a 1 here, this is a negative 1. So I'm going to look at these numbers, and how would I do that? So if I do, let's see, 3 here, and I multiply that by negative 2, that's going to give me negative 6, right? And then if I take 5 and I multiply by 1, well, that's going to give me positive 5. And if I add positive 5 to negative 6, I'm going to get negative 1. So I want to use this pair of factors with this pair of factors. Notice how I'm sticking with the pairs. And now I got to figure out how I'm going to arrange them. So I'm going to have, well, the 3 and the 5 are going to be my coefficients in front of x. So I'll start with 3x in one parentheses and then 5x in the other parentheses. Okay, and then I've got to think. I want to multiply the 5 by the 1. So I can't have the 1 in the same parentheses because that's not going to multiply. But if I put a plus 1 here, if you're thinking of foiling these, the inner terms will multiply together. So the 1 will multiply by the 5x. Likewise, I want to multiply this 3 here by this negative 2 here. So I would have to put the negative 2 over here, you know. And then finally we could check with a Punnett square or by foiling or by double distribution. But I like to show my students the Punnett square. They seem to like it. So I'm going to do 3x and 1 and then 5x and minus 2 here. 5x times 3x is 15x squared. 5x times 1 is 5x. 3x times negative 2 is negative 6x. And negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Okay? All right, so now I've got my 15x squared. So that checks out. I've got 5x plus negative 6x. That adds to negative 1x. So that checks out. And then I've also got my negative 2. So I know that this is the correct way to factor. Okay? So now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to erase this stuff, and I'll show you the magic x method. Okay, now that I've erased everything, let's do the magic x method. So I'm going to draw an x here. And I'm going to do 15 times negative 2 to get negative 30 here. And I'm going to put the negative 1 down here. And the idea here is to find two numbers that multiply to negative 30 but add to negative 1. So negative 6 times positive 5 will give me negative 30 and add to negative 1. Okay, my next step is I'm going to divide both of these numbers by this coefficient by 15. So I'm going to do 5 divided by 15 and then negative 6 divided by 15. And what we're going to do is I'm going to draw another magic x down here with my fraction simplified. So I still got my negative 30, got my negative 1, and this simplifies to 1 third, and this simplifies here to negative 2 fifths. Okay, so now we take this number down here. That's going to be my coefficient in front of x. And this is going to be the other number, so plus 1. And then we go over here. And this, again, is the number in front of x, so 5x minus 2. And this is the other number. So we've basically come up with the same solution, just using a different technique. As always, practice makes perfect, so let's try another example. All right, in the second one, I'm going to factor 6x squared minus 13x minus 5. So again, I'm going to list out the positive factors of 6. So 1 and 6, and then also 2 and 3. And I'll list out the factors of negative 5. So that's 1 and negative 5, and negative 1 and positive 5. All right, so I want to add to negative 13 here. So I've got to find a combination that adds to negative 13. So if I take negative 5 here and I multiply it by 3, that's going to give me negative 15. And then if I take 1 here and multiply it by 2, that's going to give me positive 2 plus negative 15. That's going to give me my negative 13. So again, these are going to be the coefficients in front of x. So I'm going to have 2x in one of my parentheses, and then 3x, my other one. And I want the 2 to multiply by the 1, so I'm going to have to put 3x plus 1 here. And I want 3 to multiply by the negative 5, so I have to put the negative 5 here. And I should check this with the Punnett square or with FOIL or double distribution. So let's check it. So I'm going to have a 2x minus 5 here, 3x, and a 1 here. 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times negative 5 is negative 15x. 2x times 1 is 2x. And then 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. Okay. I get my first term, so that checks. If I add negative 15 and 2x, I get negative 13, so that checks. And I have my last term, negative 5. So everything checks out, and we factored it correctly. So now I'm going to erase this stuff, and I'll do this one with the magic x. Okay, so let's draw our magic x. Okay, we're going to do 6 times negative 5, so that gives me negative 30. And we have negative 13 down here. Okay, so we want two numbers that multiply to negative 30 but add to negative 13. So we could do negative 15 and 2 would work. Okay, we now want to take those and divide by 6. All right, so now I'm going to draw a simplified magic x here. So this becomes 1 over 3. And this one is negative 5 over 2. Okay, so we're going to use the 3 and the 2 as our coefficients in front of x. We have the plus 1 here, and we have the minus 5 here. And we've successfully factored it using the magic X technique. Hopefully you found this video interesting and helpful, and if you did, could you please give it a like, consider subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day.